In the vast echoing chamber of the Galactic Council, humanity's fate hung in delicate balance. J. Park stood alone, representing Earth's hopes and dreams, his crisp diplomatic uniform a stark contrast against the shimmering alien technology surrounding him. The chamber was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Holographic screens flickered with ancient symbols, and representatives from 100 different star systems watched with calculating eyes. Some appeared humanoid, others were bizarre configurations of tentacles and crystalline structures. But all shared one common emotion: skepticism about humanity's worthiness. Ambassador Krell from the Orion Confederation spoke first. His translucent skin rippled with disapproval as he reviewed the documentation. "Humans are too aggressive," he declared, his voice a mechanical whisper. "Your species has a history of conflict, of war, of destruction." Jay remained calm. He knew. Every word mattered in this moment. Behind him, the holographic displays showed Earth's achievements: technological advances, medical breakthroughs, environmental recoveries. Decades of progress compressed into visual representations. The Arcturus delegate, a being composed of what seemed like living light, shifted uncomfortably. "Your technological development is impressive," the being admitted, "but your emotional volatility concerns us. You are unpredictable." Jay understood the subtext. Humanity was being judged not just by its achievements, but by its potential for chaos. Every war, every conflict in human history was being used as evidence against their membership. "We have changed," Jay responded, his voice steady. "We have learned. Our last century has been about collaboration, about healing our planet, about understanding our place in the universe." But the council members had already made their decision. Their body languages, subtle shifts, color changes, energy fluctuations, revealed their unanimous conclusion before the official vote. The head counselor, a massive entity that seemed part machine and part organic material, raised a crystalline hand. "By unanimous decision, humanity's application for Galactic Council membership is denied." The words echoed through the chamber. Denied, rejected, excluded. Jay didn't show emotion. He had been trained for this moment. While others might have argued, might have begged, he understood a different strategy was required. Diplomacy was not just about pleading. It was about demonstrating capability. As he turned to leave, he activated a small device in his pocket. Across the galaxy, systems would start receiving encrypted messages, not threats, not declarations of war, but carefully constructed demonstrations of human potential. The council members didn't realize it yet, but their rejection was not an end. It was a beginning. Outside the council chambers, news of the rejection spread quickly. On Earth, in research facilities, military installations, and government buildings, people were already moving, not in panic, not in anger, but with a calculated, collective purpose. Hana Kim, leading the technological response team, was already coordinating with global research centers. Admiral Seok Choi was reviewing strategic deployment plans. President Elena Rodriguez was preparing diplomatic communications that would reshape galactic perceptions. Humanity would not be ignored. Humanity would not be marginalized. The rejection was a challenge, and humans had always been exceptional at answering challenges. As J. Park boarded the transportation pod back to Earth, he allowed himself a small, confident smile. The galaxy thought they knew humans. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The pod moved silently through space, carrying not just a diplomat, but a message that would soon reverberate through every star system, every advanced civilization, every corner of the known universe. Humans were coming, and they would be impossible to ignore. The Galactic Council had made a mistake. They had underestimated humanity's resolve, humanity's innovation, humanity's collective willpower. Mistake they would soon regret. The moment J. Park returned to Earth, a transformation began. It wasn't dramatic or loud, but quiet and intensely focused. Research facilities that once worked in separate domains now became a unified network of human potential. Hana Kim stood in the central command center, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. Around her, scientists from every continent worked without sleep. They weren't just developing technology, they were reimagining human capabilities. The first project targeted communication disruption. Small quantum probes were designed to slip through alien communication networks like invisible ghosts. These weren't weapons of destruction, but precision instruments of strategic interference. In underground facilities beneath the Atacama Desert, engineers worked on adaptive defense systems. They studied alien technological patterns, creating shields that could morph faster than any known scanning technology. Each prototype was tested, refined, discarded, and rebuilt. Admiral Seok Choi coordinated military preparations differently. No massive armies or traditional weapons. Instead, he focused on intelligent, targeted technological interventions. Satellites were repositioned. Communication networks were quietly fortified. Every global resource was redirected with surgical precision. The world's economic systems shifted. Countries that once competed now collaborated. Funding that previously went into national defense was channeled into research and development. Universities across continents shared data instantly. The brightest minds worked as a single, unified intelligence. Quantum computing centers in Seoul, Silicon Valley, and Lagos worked simultaneously. They developed algorithms that could predict potential alien communication strategies. Each simulation ran millions of scenarios, learning and adapting faster than any biological intelligence could comprehend. Materials science teams created new compounds that could withstand extreme cosmic conditions. These weren't just protective materials, but adaptive substances that could change properties based on environmental challenges. President Elena Rodriguez managed the global narrative carefully. Public communications suggested preparation, not aggression. News reports highlighted human scientific achievements. The message was clear. Humanity was ready, confident, and united. In space research centers, new propulsion technologies emerged. Engines that could potentially travel vast distances using minimal energy became more than theoretical concepts. They became potential realities. The global military structure transformed. Traditional armies were replaced by technological response units. Soldiers were now data analysts, quantum engineers, and strategic communication experts. Physical strength was secondary to intellectual capability. Artificial intelligence systems were developed with strict ethical protocols. These weren't just computational tools, but strategic partners in human preparation. They could analyze complex scenarios, predict potential alien responses, and suggest diplomatic and technological strategies. Biological research teams worked on understanding potential alien physiological interactions, not for invasion, but for potential future peaceful communications. Every possible scenario was studied, every potential interaction mapped, energy research accelerated. New power generation methods that were once considered impossible became practical. Solar collection technologies improved by 500%. Fusion research made significant breakthroughs. The global communication network was redesigned. Encrypted channels that could potentially bypass alien monitoring systems were established. Information could now flow faster and more securely than ever before. Space exploration missions were quietly repurposed. Probes that were once designed for scientific research now carried additional strategic capabilities. Each satellite became a potential communication node, a potential defense mechanism. Psychological preparation was equally important. Global education systems were updated to include potential extraterrestrial interaction scenarios. People were trained to understand that first contact might not be friendly, but it could be managed intelligently. Every research center, every university, every technology hub became part of a larger, unified human strategy. The goal was no longer just technological superiority, but demonstrative capability. Humanity was preparing, not for war, not for conflict, but for a strategic demonstration of their potential. The Galactic Council had rejected them. Now humanity would show exactly what that rejection meant. Quietly, precisely, intelligently. The first probe appeared without warning. One moment, nothing. The next, a sleek, silver object materialized near the Orion trade corridor, its surface reflecting starlight with an almost alive quality. Alien communication networks flickered. Sensors across multiple star systems detected something unprecedented. This was no ordinary satellite. This was a message. Hana Kim watched from Earth's central monitoring station. Her team had spent months designing these precision instruments. Each probe carried more than technological capabilities. They carried a statement of human potential. The Arcturus communication grid was the first to experience the probe's capabilities. Transmission lines that had existed for thousands of years suddenly became unpredictable. Data streams shifted. Encryption protocols collapsed. Not destroyed. Just rearranged. Admiral Seok Choi smiled. This wasn't about destruction. This was about demonstration. Within hours, 12 similar probes appeared across strategic galactic sectors. Each was different. Each carried a unique technological signature that suggested something more terrifying than weapons: complete systemic understanding. Near. The Andromeda trade routes. A probe temporarily disabled navigation systems. Ships didn't crash. They simply paused, redirected, confused. The Orion Confederation's most secure communication channel experienced something unprecedented. Information didn't disappear. It became beautifully, perfectly scrambled, like a complex puzzle that could be reassembled, but only by understanding its entire structure. Alien technological experts began analyzing the probes. Every scan revealed something new: advanced quantum computing, adaptive neural networks, communication technologies that seemed to anticipate responses before they happened. J. Park prepared the next phase. These weren't attacks. These were carefully constructed warnings. A simple message accompanied each technological demonstration. We can do much more. Reconsider. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't asking for permission anymore. They were demonstrating capability. Research stations across alien civilizations went into overdrive. How could a species they had recently dismissed produce such advanced technology? The probes weren't just machines. They were statements. On Earth, celebration was reserved. This wasn't about victory. This was about strategic communication. President Elena Rodriguez monitored global responses. Every nation, every research center was aligned. No individual glory. Collective demonstration. The quantum probes continued their silent dance through star systems. They didn't destroy. They demonstrated. Each interaction was a complex message. Humanity understood more than anyone realized. Alien diplomatic channels became nervous. These weren't weapons of war. These were weapons of understanding, precise, calculated, intelligent. Communication networks across multiple star systems experienced subtle shifts. Nothing catastrophic, just interesting. Like a symphony where unexpected notes created a new, more complex melody. The Galactic Council's communication hub received the most sophisticated probe. It didn't attack their systems. It simply existed, showing capabilities that suggested humanity could do anything they wanted, but chose precision instead. Hana Kim's team had created more than technology. They had created a language of potential, of capability, of measured, intelligent power. Admiral Choi understood the strategy perfectly. This wasn't about showing what humans could destroy. This was about showing what humans could understand. J. Park prepared the next communication. The probes were just the beginning, a gentle introduction to human potential. The galaxy watched, confused, impressed, slightly terrified. Humanity had entered the conversation, not as a junior member, not as a supplicant, but as a force that demanded respect. The transformation had begun, quietly, precisely, intelligently. The silence was deliberate. After the technological demonstrations, humanity waited. Not out of fear, but strategy. Admiral Seok Choi's team began the next phase. Communication corridors used by alien civilizations for thousands of years suddenly became unpredictable. Not destroyed, just complicated. Alien trade routes experienced subtle disruptions. Ships didn't crash. They simply found themselves subtly redirected. Navigation systems worked perfectly, but destinations changed microscopically. A journey meant to reach one star system would mysteriously end slightly elsewhere. Hana Kim's Quantum communication team had created something extraordinary. Their systems could slide between existing communication networks like water through sand. Invisible, precise, intelligent. The first major disruption happened near the Orion Trade Confederation's primary communication hub. Their most secure network experienced a strange phenomenon. Information didn't disappear. It became beautifully scrambled. Encrypted messages meant for specific destinations would arrive, perfectly intact, but slightly different. A trade agreement might reach its destination, but with subtle modifications that made alien diplomats question their original intentions. Jay Park watched the global response. No panic, no aggression. Just calculated, intelligent intervention. President Elena Rodriguez understood the message being sent. This wasn't about destroying alien infrastructure. This was about demonstrating complete technological superiority. Research stations across alien civilizations began panicking. How could a species they had recently dismissed produce such advanced technological capabilities? The quantum probes continued their silent dance. Each interaction was a complex message. Humanity understood systems better than those who had designed them. Alien diplomatic channels became nervous. These weren't traditional weapons. These were intellectual weapons. Precise, calculated, demonstrative. Communication networks across multiple star systems experienced systematic, subtle shifts. Nothing catastrophic. Just increasingly complex and unexplainable disruptions. The Galactic Council's communication hub received the most sophisticated intervention. Their most secure systems became playgrounds of human technological potential. Messages would arrive perfectly, but with unexpected undertones that suggested complete systemic understanding. Admiral Choi's strategy was brilliant. Disrupt without destroying, show capability without aggression, demonstrate intelligence without conflict. Alien technological experts worked desperately to understand the interventions. Every analysis revealed something more complex. Adaptive systems that seemed to learn and modify themselves faster than any known technology. Hana Kim's team had created more than technological tools. They had created a language of potential, of capability, of measured intelligent power. The interventions increased systematically. Communication networks that had existed for thousands of years became unpredictable playgrounds of human technological potential. Alien civilizations began experiencing strange technological phenomena. Communication satellites would temporarily shift frequencies. Trade route navigation systems would make microscopically precise adjustments. Nothing was destroyed. Everything was demonstrated. Jay Park prepared the next communication. A simple, chilling message would accompany these technological demonstrations. Reconsider your position. We are not asking anymore. The galaxy watched, confused, impressed, increasingly terrified. Humanity had entered the conversation, not as a junior member, not as a supplicant, but as a technological force that demanded respect. Each intervention was a carefully constructed warning, a demonstration of capabilities that suggested humanity could do anything they wanted, but chose precision and intelligence over destruction. The message was clear. Underestimate us at your own risk. Alien civilizations began discussing humanity differently. No longer were they the young, volatile species to be dismissed. They were becoming something else, a technological force, an intellectual power, a civilization that could reshape communication systems with mere thought. The warning had been issued, quietly, precisely, intelligently. and the galaxy was listening. The Galactic Council chamber felt different this time. Tension hung in the air like electricity before a storm. J. Park stood at the center, surrounded by holographic representations of humanity's technological capabilities. No weapons were displayed, just pure, calculated potential. Representatives from 100 star systems watched nervously. The humans they had dismissed months ago now seemed like something entirely different. Not conquerors, not aggressors, something more complex. "We are here to discuss partnership," Jay said simply. His voice carried no threat, just absolute certainty. The Orion Confederation's ambassador shifted uncomfortably. Their communication networks were still recovering from humanity's precise technological interventions. Each probe, each system disruption had been a message. Humanity understood more than anyone realized. President Elena Rodriguez appeared holographically beside Jay. Her presence was calm, deliberate. Behind her, a montage of human achievements played silently. Medical breakthroughs, environmental recoveries, technological innovations. Admiral Seok Choi had prepared this moment meticulously. Every potential scenario had been analyzed, every possible diplomatic outcome mapped and prepared. "We do not seek conflict," Jay continued. "We seek understanding, collaboration, equal partnership." The Arcturus delegate, a being of living light, seemed to shimmer with uncertainty. Humanity had demonstrated capabilities that defied their previous assessments. These were not the volatile humans they remembered. Hana Kim's technological demonstrations had spoken louder than any diplomatic argument. The probes, the communication network interventions, the precise systemic understanding, they were more than technological achievements. They were a language of potential, of intelligence, of measured power. The council members reviewed the data. Quantum communication networks that humanity had developed. Adaptive defense systems that could reshape themselves faster than any known technology. Energy generation methods that could potentially revolutionize galactic infrastructure. No aggressive intentions were shown, just pure calculated capability. "We offer partnership," Jay repeated, "not as supplicants, as equals." The silence was profound. Every representative understood the unspoken message. Humanity was not asking for permission anymore. They were presenting a reality where they would be recognized, respected, understood. President Rodriguez's holographic image carried a subtle smile. Not of triumph, of understanding. They had planned this moment carefully, not as a confrontation, but as a demonstration. The Galactic Council's head representative, a massive entity part machine and part organic material, analyzed the data streams. Humanity's technological capabilities were beyond anything they had anticipated. J. Park stood perfectly still. No aggression, no anger, just absolute certainty. Minutes passed, perhaps hours. Time seemed different in this chamber. Finally, the head representative spoke. "Your application for membership is reconsidered." No dramatic speech, no long explanation, just a simple statement. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, not through conflict, not through aggression, but through pure calculated intelligence. The confrontation was over. The resolution had begun. J. Park allowed himself a small, almost imperceptible smile. Not of victory, of understanding. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had arrived, quietly, precisely, intelligently.